A vast majority of consumers like to surf the internet when looking for a product or service. They do a lot of research. So a business or an organization wants to be there when a person does their research. And if it is not found online, that business or organization does not exist for them. The website is the first impression of a business or organization, and very much like a brick and mortar store. Can there be an online business without website? Yes. But how successful it would be? That is something to be found out. In fact, Google Places does allow you to register your business without having a website. But really, how would you allow your consumers to know about you, to visit you or surf you unless and until you have a website where they can find out about your services or about your product? So it is always ideal to have a website, and the website is the primary component of digital marketing. What is a website? The dictionary defines website as a location accessible via the internet. This is a very simplistic definition of a website, but very primary. The address of the location of a website is identified by what is called a Uniform Resource Locator, or URL. This is what you type in at the top of your browser when you wish to go to a website. It's also simply called the web address or the website address. The URL must be unique, like a house address, for the post to reach us. Let's examine a website address in detail. HTTPS or HTTP is the Hypertext Protocol, a language that browsers and computers talk to each other in. The S in the HTTP and the green lock symbol indicates that it's a secure website in terms of transaction and information. The www is a legacy from the old days of the internet. Even if you don't type it in, browsers will automatically add it. GMRtranscription.com is a domain name and can be said to be the actual location. The actual location on the internet is in digits called the IP address that are difficult to remember, and hence they are converted into a domain name. The domain name must be unique, purchased, and registered. It must not already be in use. It is also called the TLD or the top-level domain. Next, we come to the file name. Transcriptionservices.aspx is the actual person or the file name that you want to reach. Sometimes a file name will show an extension, sometimes it does not. We'll take a slight diversion here and explain the types of extension. When the World Wide Web was launched in 1989, these top-level domains .gov, .edu, .com, .org were used to help categorize the few hundred websites at a time. Historically, .com website addresses were for publishers out to make some kind of profit through the internet services. .gov was for the government-owned websites, and .edu for universities. The .org indicated non-profits and other organizations. But then there became a dearth of the extensions and the websites, and then we had two-letter based on the country, .co.uk for the United Kingdom, .jp for Japan, and .in for India. Then again we had a four-letter extension based on the type, .shop, .info, .tv. So these are some of the types of extensions that you often see on the internet. So now coming back to the URL, transcription services is the actual person or the file name that you want to reach. The site files are what your visitors and potential customers actually see when going to the site, such as your products or services. The site file names are the same as any other file that you would normally use, like a .jpg, .photograph, .mp3 music file. Though website files are also .php, .html. So it depends upon the kind of software or hardware that you're using. How does a website work? There are three basic parts to your website. The domain name that needs to be registered and be unique. a place where your website is hosted, called a web server, and the site files. When a person searches for your website, the request is processed by their ISP, Internet Service Provider, to the address that you just typed in the browser. That address is usually located on a server, and websites are generally hosted on a web server. Based on the script, the information requested is processed and sent in a format that browsers can understand and display to the user. What the user sees is called front end, and what the server does is called back end. There are several programming languages out there like PHP, Java, ASP.NET, but the protocol to break down the information is same. But there should be one condition that has to be fulfilled, and that is that the scripting language of the website and the server should be similar. So a server that speaks the language of PHP should have a website that is in PHP. Next we come to scripts. Scripts are responsible for loading content from a database and displaying it through templates. The effect is seen by the end users, so it's called the front end. On the other hand, the administrative panel is the back end and can only be accessed by website administrators. There are different classifications for website. They can be classified based on functionality, based on technology, and based on the user experience. Based on functionality, websites can be divided into the classification of information, contact and lead based, small business, e-commerce, and many others, but these are the most common functionalities. One of the reasons for dividing a website or categorizing it into based on functionality is that the kind of website that we create depends upon the kind of website or the service or the product or the information that we are providing. For example, Wikipedia has a website structure that is entirely different from an e-commerce website or a website that sells something. Technology is now focused on content management systems and networks. There is open source technology or SaaS or as a system, software as a system. The scripting language is now no longer an issue with different servers, and website programmers are available in all sorts of scripting languages. However, it's the use of CMS that has changed the way businesses earlier worked with the website. So we have a lot of, we have the CMS and we have a lot of content management systems working on different kind of scripting languages and platforms. And so when we are creating a website, we would like to know what kind of CMS system is good for us to use, and based on that, we decide what technology to use. So CMS is something completely new, and it is responsible for the revolutionary use of digital marketing as a channel because it makes it so easy. You can do the editorial workflow, have different levels of approval, different people can add different concepts to the website, and there is an interactive user face, usually browser face, that doesn't require, most importantly, technical knowledge of the web or some language like HTML or CSS to create content. So that makes it much more easier for a business, and therefore the rise of CMS is very important in a website design concept. Based on user experience, the concept of categorizing a website is quite something new. But the user experience has come because we are using different kinds of technologies to access the same kind of information. For example, I might browse my website from a mobile phone or from a tablet or even from my laptop. Giving a uniform experience over the platforms is kind of doesn't make a lot of sense from a user point of view, because on a mobile I cannot access the broad screen of the laptop, and therefore I would like the information I require to be more concise. So we have websites coming up becoming responsive, adaptive, where they adapt to the kind of the screen or the browser or the technology used by the visitor. User experience depends upon the visual impact, the performance, like how fast the website is loading or how fast is it giving out information, the kind of content that we see, and how accessible it is. The common features for all websites are the technicality behind it, or the language, or the user experience, and above all, the content. This is what we see when we open a website. These are the first impressions that we see. How fast is the site loading? Is the site deliver what I expected it to do? And what kind of content is there on the website? Website design is a part of marketing. You just have 3 seconds minimum to convey to your visitors what to offer. And thus the website should always convey the following immediately: the product or service that you offer, why the consumer should use your product and services, and how you differentiate yourself from the competitors. So you have to ensure website effectiveness by breaking up pages into well-defined sections, making clickable links obvious, and such other tricks. You can ensure website effectiveness by researching your demographics and psychographics and integrating the results in the design. Having a website address that is easy to remember and communicates what you do. Have a company name or tagline that conveys your business. Make sure it's a part of your design. Creating clear visual hierarchy that amplifies key messages on the web page. For example, a beauty site targeting women between the age of 22 to 35. We think of things like peach or golden might be the color that appeals to them. Or for men, we try black and gray, colors like that. So these are all a part of marketing because they're sending messages about you being who you are. Break up the pages into well-defined sections so that information is very easy to find, and consumers scan the website. They don't read a website or a web page. So always try and make your pages scannable by using bullets. Make sure that the pages are not cluttered. Keep your message short and exclude unnecessary verbiage. People are not there to read anything. They are searching for information or trying to check out a product or compare your product with other products. Make sure every page has a title and a description that clearly explains what the page is about. This is a part of it being scannable. And make clickable links obvious. So this is an example of a website. Nike and Reebok, both of them are in the same segment, but see how the difference of the websites and how they convey the difference of the website to the users. Once you have created the website, how do you measure the success of the website? On what parameters? They could be the number of page views on your website, the time a visitor spends on your website, how many visitors come to your website and leave immediately. That's called the bounce rate. The bounce rate of a website should normally be low. And how many conversions are you getting through the website? These are some of the website KPIs that you need to keep on monitoring so that you can improve your website and give your visitors a better experience, or even try and improve your content if visitors are coming and leaving the site immediately, or if you're not getting enough conversions. So in summary, websites are rated on design, usability, creativity, and content. These all are unconsciousness rateability that we do when we see a website or when we open a website. So make sure that your websites speak the same language as your business objective. Make sure you have a design that's attractive, yet information is easy to find. It is creative. It has content that is relevant to what the users chose to visit the website for. And always use technology to give the best user experience to a visitor.